Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 23.
Listen, we are doing our part and talking about the parts that stood out to us, so I need y'all to do your part, and that's subscribe, like, share, comment. Let's talk about this episode. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, so Christine is learning how to have a real partnership in her marriage and not just run her household how she chooses.
Yeah.
And the big scene about that was basically the Frisbee got put over the fence. David wanted to jump over the fence to get it. Christine didn't want the little kids to see it and then try to mimic it. So she went around to go pick up the Frisbee, but David had already jumped over the fence.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can't really control everything.
No.
And I'm hoping that, like she says, she gets upset and frustrated by it, but she still loves David. And I'm hoping that that doesn't turn to frustration because Christine can turn sometimes. But I'm hoping that she is learning to have a real partnership rather than just being the, the pilot of her own ship or whatever. So
this is actually, even though we're going to get into some deep stuff this episode, this was actually the most impactful scene to me throughout the whole episode. Because this is actually that even though she is out of the polygamous marriage, right, you can see the effects of basically her trying to control whatever real estate that she may have in the polygamous marriage. It actually translated to her monogamous marriage, right? And the thing about it is, when people get married as they are when they're older, the pros of that is, hey, they are more sure of themselves, they are confident, they know what they want, they know what they don't want. But some of the cons of that can be, oh yeah, they're kind of stubborn too. Like, you can't teach a old dog new tricks. Not trying to call nobody a dog, just using that as a saying, to where people are more stuck in their ways, right? And something as little as how to get the Frisbee frustrated you.
Yeah.
Right? And it kind of lets you know that, oh, in my last marriage, I had to fight for time. I had to fight for how to do stuff. I had to literally fight for land. I had to fight for this. I had to fight for how things operate and how you're going to operate with me. Right? And now she's in her new marriage, and something as little as a Frisbee or how to get the Frisbee shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
Because you could get the Frisbee as a grown-up however you want to, and you can tell your children don't do that.
Exactly.
So that's the whole thing, that even though that she is in a new marriage, she still got to get that old way of fighting for real estate and that old way of control out of her, and it's going to take time and it's going to take practice, but at least she knows.
I like how you said that, fighting for real estate, because she had to fight for every inch of her marriage, of her spot as a sister wife, as her part in everything that she wanted to do in her life.
Yeah.
So we learned that Meri is closing the bed and breakfast. She wants to turn it into a small event venue for family reunions, small weddings, baby showers, and she is looking forward to who she is and what she wants to do in her life.
Hey, Meri, I just want you to actually, when you say you're going to do something, I just want to see it done. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Meri do be having good ideas, but she let years go by. She knew that she should have left Kody a long time ago.
Yeah.
But she let years go by. So I hope that whatever plan she has, she actually have the motion to actually follow through with it, and not basically just procrastinate.
Yeah, and I'm liking to see this version of Meri. Like, she seems very self-fulfilled and excited for the future instead of being this lady who stays in her house and waits for Kody to come around. So I'm happy that she's taking the reins of her life and moving it in the direction that she wants.
Okay, now we about to get into it, guys.
Yeah, so this is when we find out that Garrison passed away.
R.I.P.
So Kody kept calling Meri during one of her confessional tapings. She was ignoring it for a while, but he said it was an emergency. She ended up answering, and that's when she got the news. Janelle says that Gabriel found him. He told them that he took his own life, and Janelle drove there immediately. Hunter called Christine and told her they all knew he was sad, but they just hoped that he would get better. Kody was stunned. He was trying to console his kids. Gwendolyn called and ended up coming over, and he was just overwhelmed with grief. Kody is the one who told Robyn, and Meri went to Kody and Robyn's house when Gwendolyn was there, and Gwendolyn really hung on to Meri.
What are your thoughts on just, like, of course we found out outside of the actual show and things like that, it broke on news and things like that, but actually seeing how everybody was finding out and people's reaction, what was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was really heartbreaking. I thought to myself, like, even though this is a family that has dispersed, there is still a very real cord holding them all together.
Yeah.
And that when situations of life and death happen, they are going to continue to be in each other's lives. And it seems like everyone tried to be supportive as best as they could with each other in their respective ways. Christine didn't go see Kody and Robyn or anything like that, but everyone, I guess the thing that stood out to me is it seemed like everyone felt the pain in the exact same way. Like, it devastated all of the adults because that was all of their child.
Yeah. You know? And to your point, I don't hold it against Christine.
Yeah.
For choosing not to go.
No, absolutely not.
I think people deal with things in a lot of ways, sadness, and then that may turn to anger. To Kody, it may turn to guilt. It may turn to a lot of things, right? And I asked the question, will this tragedy bring this family together? As Blair basically say, like, that was everybody's child. And in a way, they are tethered, even though they may move to different states or have other marriages. We all knew this child. We all knew this young man, right? I'm actually more concerned about the living, right? About the brother who saw him.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Yeah. That was hard, too, to throw out there. When I saw Gabe, I'm just like, the light in his eyes. Like, Gabe is just such, like, a light. You know what I'm saying? And to see the light in his eye be out, I was just like, ooh, this is not Gabe.
Yeah.
That was so sad.
And the thing about it is, Garrison is his name, the one that passed away, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, RIP to Garrison. And whatever he was going through, I always feel like women have a better communication when it comes to how they feel, right? They talk a lot, so they're great at communication, right? Sometimes. I do feel like, I say it as a joke, but I really do feel like as men, we do need a physical, emotional will of how we feel, right? Because there's no such thing, or basically we should take it serious of I feel nothing, right? No. You got to feel something. Let me give you actually words to describe what you may feel, because nothing is still a word and nothing is still a feeling. And I think even hearing them say, like, oh, yeah, we knew he was sad, but it's like we thought he'd just get over it. Sad is a very impactful emotion. Just because it's a 3-letter word doesn't mean that it's not a powerful emotion. Sadness can overtake your whole life. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? I know we so used to depression and we so used to antidepressants and we used to and the effects of that. But sadness is also a heavy weight in itself too, which can lead to other things, right? And I hope that for Gabe's sake, that hey, the light can be back in his eyes, because something like that can grow you up faster.
Yeah.
It can mature you. He can definitely miss some steps in his development that's supposed to be natural. So, like, now it's time to Garrison. Unfortunately, he's gone. He's resting in peace and things of that nature. Now it's time to actually contribute and attribute to the living. Talk to Gabe. Talk to the other siblings and things like that. See where everybody's at. Now we lost one. There's no excuse of, oh, this person's sad, but I thought it was just a stage in their life. Now it's time to actually pay attention to where we don't have this reoccurring thing. You get what I'm saying?
So Janelle and Garrison were texting all day. Apparently he stopped texting around 8:30.
Yeah.
He would have days where he would binge drink, and she could tell that this is one of those nights. Whew. She called Gabe to go and check on Garrison, and Gabe called her to say he was gone.
Wow.
So we see Gabe say that Garrison felt a lot deeper than he would express, and in his life he would just try to make others feel comfortable. And this is the scene where I talk about Gabe looks like a different kid.
Yeah.
And I understand he's an adult now, and I'm just like, this is not the Gabe that we've seen, and because he went through a tragedy. The whole family did. And it was so sad to see him this way.
His view of life is completely different now.
Yeah. So a few days after he passed, there was a viewing, and it was the last time that they all saw him in person.
Yeah.
Janelle said that he struggled with alcohol. He started drinking during COVID. They offered him love, support, resources. She doesn't know why he would do it what makes this night different than all the other nights. where he would go, radio silent, but he would be back in the morning.
Yeah.
They did cremate him, and they plan to bury him in Wyoming, just in a better time of year when the whole family can get together. It's just a very tough time for them.
Yeah, here's the thing, and this is not based off of my experience. This is not based off of my experience, but based off of people who have tried to take their own lives that I've talked to, right? That time that the person may have been successful, they may have been other unsuccessful times.
Attempts, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So there's nothing special about this time per se that may have been out of the norm. He just succeeded this time. You get what I'm saying? And that's the thing that really sucks, is that we can't look at this one successful attempt as an isolated thing. It's been compounding and compounding and compounding. And even the fact that I think you said that he was drinking or binge drinking that day, he was building the courage. You get what I'm saying? Building the courage, because the body itself will resist death. Things like that. So the fact that he was drinking and actually hearing how his stories sound familiar to some people that I know that attempted and failed, and they are living and they are better today, it's actually sad to actually know that actually taking your own life is not as easy as Garrison may have done. So it's really sad, and hopefully they're okay, because we should get used to watching these reality TV shows and think it's all for TV. And we can all watch it and be like, you know what, Sister Wives need to get off of TV. Is boring. But this is their real life, and someone really lost their life off of this. So it really is sad.
What made me feel good was to hear that Janelle said that they did have support, resources, everything in place for Garrison, but ultimately this was his decision.
That made me feel sadder.
And I guess what made me feel better about it is to know that he was never alone.
Yeah.
And that they always were keeping tabs on him. And she said even with the siblings, they were taking turns of checking on him and making sure he was okay. And it's the hard part and the hard reality that when somebody decides to take their own life, that is their decision. It made me think about Regina Hall.
Yeah.
Was it Regina Hall?
It was King.
Regina King. Sorry, Regina Hall.
Shout out Regina Hall.
Yeah. It reminded me of Regina King when her son passed or took his own life. Mm-hmm. And that was her only child. Mm. And I think one thing that she said in her interview recently was that she had to respect his decision with what he wanted to do with his life. And I think that got a lot of mixed reviews when people heard her say that. But for me, it struck me differently, just in the fact that you can never control another person, whether if it's your child, your parent, your friend, and you can do as much as you can, but you shouldn't carry the weight on your back that you could have done more or you should have done more, because this person ultimately decides their road in life,
Yeah.
And that's a hard pill to swallow. And I just am glad that the family did do everything they could possibly do to try to save him.
Yeah, I know you said it made you feel good, or at least a little joy of seeing that the family was being resourceful and trying to help him. But that made me feel sadder.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you really can't help somebody out of a dark place that they're in. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it could be a disease even. So it's like, I can have the resources, I can give the money, I can put people on shifts to stop by the house, to call you, to text you, and it's like,
I can have you committed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So it's like all these things, and then it kind of feel like for nothing if the decision is ultimately going to be yours. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm like, that's sad in a way, because there is a brighter side to hardship, in the sense of the other side of hardship, of where you can finally breathe. But sometimes, life and mental illness and all that stuff can suffocate you, and it can feel like the only way out is out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So Janelle talks to her younger sister, Carrie, and she talks about how she says good days, bad days, then she says good minutes, bad minutes. His B-Day pass, that was pretty hard for her. Mm-hmm. He had anxiety and depression. He started drinking to cope, and then the drinking just got away from him. He could never get a hold of it.
Yeah.
She knows that they did everything that they could do for him. Sometimes she forgets he passed, she remembers, and then all of the emotions come over her again.
Let's keep going.
So Kody is dealing with the grief. They didn't get a chance to make things right, and it's hard that he didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Everyone thinks they have more time.
What are your thoughts on that?
My thing with Kody is, let me finish it because he had a little bit more to say.
Go ahead.
So Janelle worries about Gabe. He did counseling before and he was in a better place, but what happened with Garrison did set him back. Within the family, they are having more frank conversations about mental health. And Kody is just stuck thinking the what ifs. Like, what if they would have talked more? What if they would have done more together? Would it have made a difference? And people are telling Kody that he can't do the what ifs. It is what it is now. And as harsh as it may say,
go ahead, because I'm right with you, Blair. Go ahead.
I think Kody, where his mind is at is where his mind needs to be. Especially because now, like I said before, Garrison's decision is his decision.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody should put it on their back that it's your fault or responsibility that somebody decides to take their life. But if you know that you have not been active in that person's life, especially as their parent, and they struggled with the fact that you were no longer an active parent in their life, then that means you did need to step up.
Yeah.
And would that have changed the outcome? We don't know, but you failed. You dropped the ball for your child. You absolutely did. You dropped the ball.
Yes.
And with that realization, I hope that hits him and hurts him enough for him to change his relationship with his other children in an effort to pick up the ball where he had dropped it and stop being such a woe is me type of person and trying to defend Robyn against everybody and really fix your relationship with your children. I hope this is a wake up call for Kody.
This right here made me angry.
Yeah.
Right? And not angry in the sense of like, I'm punching the wall and stuff. I'm never, but I'm like, oh, no. We're not going to make this about you.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it wasn't for this episode, this wasn't Garrison was not battling something in secret.
Right.
So let's take that off the table, right? If this was something to where we did not know, the family didn't know about his drinking, the family did not know about his sadness, his depression, all this stuff, then I'd be like, okay, you know what? You never know when you got to make amends. You know the what if. But you knew he had a problem. Because the family knew, right? And even knowing that he had a problem, you still thought you had more time, right? And so that's why I'm like, oh, no, we're not going to play that game to where now all of a sudden you're clear-minded to where it's like, you know what? We all think we had more time. And now I'm thinking about what if. No, you knew about the what ifs. Because how many conversations have we seen? How many conversations have we reviewed? How many conversations Janelle had with you about how important it is for you to have a relationship with her children?
Yes.
This is the whole falling out with you and Janelle is based off the kids.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't even understand where this what if is coming from, right? So this right here already lets me know, this episode already lets me know that, Garrison wasn't in the trenches by himself. The family was there with him. The one that chose to basically extract themselves from the trenches was Kody.
Yep. And it's just like, I'm just going to live the easier, funner life with Robyn and the younger kids instead of dealing with the real issues that his children were having.
That's the facts.
Yeah.
That's the facts. Now, here's the thing about it. I'm not telling him to deal with guilt in the same way to where he now feel like he have to, that guilt overtakes him and he got to live a life of guilt. No. This is what you do. There's nothing we could do for Garrison now. So now you attribute everything that you could have done, everything that you could be better to the people who are living.
Do better by them.
To Gabe, right? To like the daughter that don't want to talk to you and things of that nature, that lives out the state and things of that nature. So it's like, when I heard Kody say that, I'm like, I understand what you may be saying to us on the camera, but the facts are this was not a type of thing that Garrison was going through by himself. Everybody knew about Garrison thing, even taking shifts, texting him, calling him, trying to get resources, trying to get him checked in. You chose to extract yourself and to basically be like, I don't want to be part of his life because he have to respect me and my wife and things like that. Well, the whole time there's other things and other priorities that is higher on the list, such as someone's life, than how you feel and how somebody got to apologize to you and things like that.
Facts.
So it's like, I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, overall, no, this was a really tough episode. Yeah. Just seeing everybody get choked up and just the pain just across the entire family was hard to see. It was very hard to see. But like you said, I hope that out of this, the people who needed Kody, the person who needed to step up,
right. you ain't wrong when you're right,
actually steps up for the rest of his children. And I hope that this family finds peace, and especially Janelle, because I mean, Janelle
she's had bad minutes.
Janelle is a rock for her family. She really is, and being a rock for your family, just on the outside looking in, I'm just like, that can be a hard position to be in, and I think that with her children, they don't have that relationship with their father, so they're looking to her as like, what do we do? How do we handle this? How do we process this? And she doesn't even know. So I just want peace for Janelle and her family, and for them to find a way through this. And I know it's going to be hard.
Look, you said it 100%. One thing I always say is, look, man, the funeral always bring people back together. Yeah. Like people don't want to get along. People don't want to talk until it's funeral day, you know? And then once that die down, we go back to our normality of life. You just want to make sure that whoever you are, in the sense of family and things like that, that when somebody pass away, that you feel nothing. And in the sense of guilt, shame, and things like that, I made amends with everybody who felt like they had a problem with me and my family personally and things like that. Because if something was to happen to them, I'm not going to have guilt or any shame. I'm going to only think of the good times and the times that we had, even making amends. So I think it's very important that we can even learn from other people's mistakes and learn looking at other people's lives. They'd be like, you know what? I have nothing against you. You can have whatever you have against me if that's the case. But I'm not going to wait till you dare to get on the mic or get in front of the camera and be like, I wish I had more time. Right. 24 hours, 7 days a week is enough time.
It is.
It really is. Anything else?
That's it.
Listen here, this was a good episode in the sense of we had a lot to talk about. And I expect y'all to talk about it, how y'all felt, with more details coming out and things of that nature about Garrison, unfortunate passing and things of that nature. And we will be back next week if we have something to talk about. Yep. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We see y'all.
Bye.